Ever heard of a BOI report? Now trust me, you're gonna wanna hear this because it could mean the difference between keeping your business afloat or having significant penalties coming next year from the federal government. Now, if you're wondering what a BOI report is, why it matters, and if you need to file one, I'm gonna break it all down for you in layman's terms to keep it simple and easy for you to understand. Now, what is a BOI report? Well, it stands for a Beneficial Ownership Information Report, and it's a new requirement under the Corporate Transparency Act of 2021. Now, these reports are designed specifically to provide the government with crucial information about who owns and controls businesses here in the United States. But it's not always about government control. The primary goal is to enhance transparency and help law enforcement combat financial crimes such as money laundering, cyber crimes, terrorism financing, and tax evasion. So there are some good things that are going to come out of filing this report for all businesses in the United States. All right, so who needs to file a BOI report? Well, the requirement applies to a wide range of businesses operating in the US, but this mainly includes LLCs, which stands for limited liability companies. Whether you're a partnership or a corporation, you do need to file this report. There's other entities created by filing with the Secretary of State's office for the state that you're in, but there are 23 exemptions to this rule. Now, a couple of those are sole proprietorships. That means that if you just own the business by yourself and you file it as a sole proprietor, you'll be exempt from this BOI report as it stands right now. Also, publicly traded companies, as well as banks, credit unions, insurance companies, and tax-exempt organizations. And that's just to name a few. If your business doesn't fall under one of these exemptions, you'll need to file a BOI report. So if you want to know more, go to the video description. I've got a link to the government site for FedSyn, which represents this BOI report details. Now, it's crucial to understand when you need to file this BOI report because depending on when you launched your business and when you established it with the Secretary of State, it could vary on when this report is due. The first deadline applies to any business created prior to January 1st of 2024. That happens to apply to my business, which is in freeze drying, and that deadline is January 1st of 2025. You need to make sure you submit the BOI report in the online filing or PDF form before January 1st of 2025. Now, if you created your business in 2024, you have 90 days from the date of filing to submit this BOI report. Now, if that raises some alarm bells to you because you haven't filed yet, because maybe you didn't even know about this BOI report, don't worry, contact a CPA or an accountant that you have and ask them if there's still an exemption or some type of extended deadline. I'm sure that they could help you. And lastly, for all businesses who file starting January 1st of 2025, you're gonna have 30 days to file this BOI report from the date that you file with your Secretary of State. Make sure you monitor these deadlines, rewind in this video to see which deadline you fall into for the entity and the business that you established. But hang on, there's one more deadline, unfortunately, that you need to know about, and that is any updates that you have to your business within the ownership category. You need to make sure you file that update within 30 days of that update occurring to the FedSyn BOI report filing. All right, so how do you file this report? Well, I'm gonna share with you actually me going through it for my business, my freeze drying business, so you can see exactly the steps that are on the FedSyn website that you'll also see when you file your report as well. Now, this really didn't take that long to file as long as you're not a complicated business. If you're much larger and you have different ownerships, it might take you a little bit longer because you need the identification of each owner to submit, and you actually have to have pictured copies of their driver's license, passports, things like that, and put that into the portal. I'll share with you what that looks like. Now, you're going to want to create an account and then follow the prompts to enter in all your business information. As you can see, what I'm doing, I'm filling in all the information pertaining to my business, as well as uploading my identification document, which was my driver's license, so that the government can verify that I own the business. You're going to review all the information and make sure that the ownership beneficiaries are all submitted correctly. Once you get done finishing that, you just press submit, and then you'll get an email notification that you've completed the BOI report. What happens if you don't spend the short amount of time to fill out this BOI report for your entity, given the deadlines that I just outlined in this video? Well, believe it or not, it's not just a monetary fine. You could also be criminally charged for not following this BOI report. Now, the penalties might seem very extreme, and they are, but there's a lot of good reasons why they are, and I already outlined that at the beginning of the video, which was the federal government's trying to protect itself from outside entities trying to create fraudulent companies, financial terrorism, things like that. So there are a lot of good things that go into creating this type of law, but you do need to know about the penalties. So let's go through those. Monetarily, you could be fined up to $500 a day for each day that you don't file that BOI report, up to $10,000. That's a hefty amount, and it's probably not going to be tax deductible, so it's going to come straight out of your pocket. Now, criminally, you could potentially be in prison for up to 2 years for not filing this BOI report. So it's essential to take this requirement seriously and ensure your report is accurate and that it's filed on time. Now, as someone who filed this report for the first time, I have to keep in mind that this is a new reality for all US businesses. And while it may seem like it's just another bureaucratic hurdle, the consequences of not going through those pieces is pretty large, considering that you could be in prison for up to 2 years and the fine is $500 every single day. We don't know how strict the federal government's going to be on that fine, but personally for me, I don't really want to find out if the federal government's going to be as strict as they say they are. So take the time, file that BOI report, and you'll be smooth sailing heading into next year for your business. If you're unsure about any aspect of this BOI report, you can go to the link in the video description, which I'll give you to fedsin.gov. That's the website that created this law, and they list out all the information. You can also consult with your accountant or find someone locally that can describe to you what exactly you're supposed to file and when those deadlines are. Now, if you're interested in freeze drying and starting a freeze drying business and the legal requirements to start that, I've got some videos coming up about what it takes to start a freeze drying business. I'll see you there.